I just wanted to go over the 5 main things that we learned last week. The first one was that hypotenuse is across from the right angle. So you see the right angle in the corner of that right triangle, you go across from it, that is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is also the longest line. Those are the first 2 things you need to know. The third thing you need to know has 2 parts. Type 1. This is when you do not have the hypotenuse. An example would be right here. Remember, the hypotenuse is across from the right angle, and the other 2 are known as legs. So that is when you'd use the formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We know we do not have the hypotenuse when the line across from the right angle is a letter, not a number. So we know we do not have the hypotenuse in this example. The 3 and the 4 are the legs, so they are a and b. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals, we'll use h squared in this instance. 3 squared is 9 plus 4 squared is 16 is equal to h squared. We add 9 and 16, we get 25 is equal to h squared. We square root both sides to get rid of the square here. So we have h is equal to 5. So that would be what the hypotenuse would be in this triangle. So this is type 1 when we do not have the hypotenuse. Type 2, when we do have the hypotenuse, would be this formula, c squared minus a squared equals b squared, where c squared is the hypotenuse once again, a squared is the leg that you do have, and b squared is the leg that you do not have. So for example, in this case, the hypotenuse is c, so across from the right angle is 5 squared, or just 5. Take away the leg that we do have is 4 squared equals b squared. 5 squared is 25. Take away 4 squared, which is 16, which is equal to b squared. 25 take away 16 is 9, is equal to b squared. We square root both sides because we want to know what b is, not b squared. The square root gets rid of the square. We're left with b is equal to 3. That is what you do when you do have the hypotenuse. The last 2 points we learned last week is that the Pythagorean theorem only works for right triangles. So right triangles means there's a right angle. Right angle is a 90-degree angle. Pythagorean theorem only works for right triangles. So if you have a triangle with 3 different measurements, you have to measure, or you have to plug them in to the Pythagorean theorem. Usually I use the c squared equals a squared plus b squared one. You plug all the numbers in, make sure the hypotenuse is correct. If the left side of the equation is equal to the right side, then it is a right triangle. If it is not equal, then it is not a right triangle. Same with Pythagorean triples. If you have 3 numbers, 3 whole numbers, you can test if they're Pythagorean triple by plugging it also into the equation c squared equals a squared plus b squared, and check if the left side of the equation is equal to the right side. If they're equal, they're Pythagorean triples in a right triangle. If they are not equal, then they are not Pythagorean triples and not in a right triangle. If they are equal, but one of them is not a whole number, they are not considered Pythagorean triple, but they could be a right triangle. So Pythagorean triples have to be whole numbers. Whole numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Those are the 5 points that we learned last week and that you will use this week in studying for the assessment on Thursday.